way that is a collaborative group learning environment. I think that really prepares people for real life challenges that they'll face in terms of collaboration in a work environment and leading a team, and I think that those tools have been successful. So I think that I've already seen a lot of success stories, coming out of that.
Sure. So what's the aspirational part then of the news story in 10 years? What's the thing that's not already happening that you would hope the headline about that is happening?
Point. So the one thing, I'm going to make sure this is relevant to the question. I think Capel ISD, it has a limit of what it can do in terms of Capel is geographically, we're closed in. And so we're only going to get so big, we're only going to get so much money in terms of, like property values and stuff like that. So I don't know with the, tax situation and, the money coming in, I don't know how much more Capel can expand in terms of what it can offer, what it can continue to give to students, as far as tools go. So in terms of in 10 years from now I don't know, I guess the biggest change that I've seen is that it's more culturally diverse. So I think that maybe, the biggest difference that you will see 10 years from now is that you're going to see a more diverse population going out and being successful in the world.
I got you.
So, I'm trying to think, but as far as Capel being groundbreaking in terms of offering new programs and stuff like that, I don't know how much more it can reach because it's not getting the financial support from Austin because they're not giving as much money back. Now, if they were funding the district at a percentage that they were 15 years ago, I could see Capel greatly expanding its programs and offerings to, even provide even more. I could see it easily dropping in a vocational program. I could see it easily doing things like that.
Sure.
But I don't know if it's economically feasible because we don't have any more land to grow.
Sure.
But we keep getting more and more kids in the district. That will fund, more money that we get. But from a percentage-wise, I wish that we were being funded where we were 15 years ago. I could see them providing much more opportunities to hire more teachers, to provide more programs. That would be amazing. But again, that goes back to Austin.
Sure. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I got you. Well, let's start to land the plane around the other side of that sort of future-focused question. In this case, let's imagine that I would love to have a news story come out that was all about encouraging people to steer clear of Capel.
Okay.
That I would want the highlight to be, or the headline to be about how bad the education system is, and therefore you should steer clear of Capel if you have kids. But I actually want it to be true, so I'm not talking about sort of a PR thing. I'm saying that it's actually reporting factual situations where this is a bad school district. But let's say, as of today, I hire you to make sure that happens. To make sure that the district isn't successful.
Okay.
Where would you focus your efforts? Knowing what you know, where are the chinks in the armor? Where are the vulnerabilities? Where are the high-risk areas that you would focus your effort?
Let's think about that.
You think, man, if these things aren't addressed, they could turn into real big problems.
I'll make sure I'm going to go down this road. Here we go. I think there are some people in this town, and we're just going to speak very frankly.
Please.
I talked about the cultural diversity.
Uh-huh.
I think there's some people in this town that are uncomfortable with all the Indian people moving into town.
Okay.
Just going to throw it out there. I think it's because, and I don't know if that's people that have been here a long time. Yeah, and this is a small percentage that I'm speaking about. It's not huge, but I think that ignorance of other cultures. I think that acceptance. People need to understand that if you're going to live in North Texas is a hotbed for economic growth and development, and people are going to move here. This is an international hub now, and people need to be accepting of other people from other parts of the world, and and I think that would be the weak link, is that I think that it would be very easy to start driving a wedge in between this. I think that the district does an amazing job of inclusion and making sure that people are aware. My daughter, she's in 2nd grade. She doesn't see skin color. That's amazing. I grew up in it. It's just, where I came from, I'm sure you could imagine some of the things that I dealt with. Yeah. But honestly, I think that it would be relatively easy to drive a wedge in that. The city does a great job of, I think, inclusion and diversity. They've even changed events to make sure that people are being more inclusive of things. But I can see that could be a point, is the cultural changes and the cultural diversity. I think that you could easily drive a wedge there. So that would be one thing. I think that there's also, there's an economic diversity here too that some people don't like to address. There are people that are very well off, and there are people that live in trailer parks here in Coppell. So I think that you could easily drive a wedge there, and you could separate those things. I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know. I mean, okay. I think those are probably the two things that I could see that would easily be.
I got you.
Coppell sometimes has a reputation of being a snobby city, or an uppity city. I don't necessarily see it. Maybe that's because I'm in it. But there are amazingly nice people. But I do think that, and that may kind of tie into the economic diversity that I spoke of just a second ago. But I think that could, possibly be a factor in that. You could drive a wedge that way. But I mean, we've got, Coppell is crazy. I mean, we have trailer parks that are here. We have multi-million-dollar houses that are here. So, you could easily exploit those differences, I think.
And how do you imagine that might impact the school district?
So I think that those things would be impacted in terms of social integration within the school district. When kids don't feel welcome, when they don't feel warm, it does not provide a healthy learning environment. So I think that's what I saw a little bit, or when I lived in Mississippi, was there were economic. There was economic diversity, there was social diversity, there was racial diversity, and I think that held a lot of kids down.
Right on.
I think that what I do see, though, is that we were looking from the perspective of how we would drive the wedge.
Yeah.
And that I actually do think the district does a really good job of being inclusive. I think that they do a good job of making people feel welcome. I think that comes from a district. I think that's from the top down. I know Brad, I've seen him personally, in like committees that I've served on. He values all stakeholders. And I know Brad is brand new to the job. And honestly, I wasn't as involved. I've been involved more with the district now that Brad has kind of taken the reins. I think I've gotten some special interest put in me because of my multiple stakeholder views.
Yeah.
But I've personally seen Brad, he is trying to be super inclusive of all areas of the district. Another wedge, I think, is that there are areas of the district that aren't in the city of Coppell.
Right on.
I think that you could easily drive wedges for people that don't live in the city of Coppell, and it would be very, very easy to exclude them. And so that, Valley Ranch is a big example, Lee Elementary is a big example. A lot of those kids don't live in the city limits of Coppell, but they're getting a Coppell education.
Right on.
And easily drive a wedge with Cypress Waters. Cypress Waters is a hotbed of debate Incop Bellwether